Hey all, it's Matt, your average gamer, and for this video we're going to be covering 5 of the most powerful early weapons in DLC. This is going to be a great video for information. It's going to have Rellana's blades in it as well. I have 2 different builds for her blades. This is going to be a great one. Once again, I'm going to be taking some of the weapons back to the lands between, and the reason I'm doing that is for these next couple days, I'm trying to keep a lot of the spoilers for the DLC out. Me personally, I'm towards the mid-game at this point now, but I'm going to try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible. Also, if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is an awesome community. The Discord is in the pinned comment below. At number 5, we have the Greatsword of Solitude. You can grab this one really early. After each build, I'm going to show locations, and this will scale with an A in strength. Yeah, this is going to be one of those weapons for you that's, if you're a strength user, you're going to love this one. The armor set that you get as a drop with this is also really good. It's a really heavy set, by the way. We're going to show off the build here after we take on the troll at Secluded Cell. It sends out a wave initially, and then it has a powerful follow-up swing. Also, what weapon that you found so far are you enjoying the most? Comment below the weapon you're enjoying the most so far in DLC and what you like about DLC so far. I believe it's been excellent. Let's jump into equipment. And we have the Greatsword of Solitude, preferably plus 10. We have any seal for buffs. So we have part of the Knight's Cavalry and Solitude set on. Axe Talisman, Ritual Swords Talisman, Shard of Alexander, Arsenal Charms plus 1, or Great Jar's Arsenal, Spike Crack Tier, and Fate Tier. And for stats on this one, we have 60 Vigor, 23 Mind. We have 33 Endurance, a good amount of Endurance because we got a lot of armor on here. 66 Strength, which with the 1.5 times bonus will give us 99 Two-Handed, 15 Dexterity, 25 Faith, Golden Vow Flame Grip Strength. And the location on this one is at the Western Nameless Mausoleum. You're going to be able to get this relatively early in the DLC. Just to the left of that grace there, you're going to go to the west and grab this item. And number 4, we have the Repeating Crossbow. Right past maybe their first dungeon in the game in Castle Ensis, or Enzis, however you say it, you're going to be able to grab the Repeating Crossbow, which is a really cool weapon. Doesn't scale with any individual stat, but we can boost the damage substantially. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to use the Arrow's Reach and Sting Talisman, and then if you could stay at full HP, you could use the Ritual Swords Talisman too. But more to the point here is with Flaming Bolts, we could use the Fire Scorpion Charm and Flame Tier to further boost our damage. Now, what seems to be the Ash of War is repeating fire. It seems that it's not boosted by the Shard of Alexander. I guess it's the way the inputs are, at least from my testing. But you do get a lot of damage out of this weapon's Ash anyway because the repeating fire ability is excellent. This is now easily the best crossbow in the game. It can fit most builds, especially with no stat requirements. I mean no scaling stats, by the way. It does have minimal stat requirements like 13 dexterity or something, but after that it's got to be weapon level and what you boost it with, and there's a huge advantage there because it's going to make it fit many builds. And pretty much any build you're running is likely able to use the repeating crossbow. Also, want to mention that this is a favorite weapon that I found so far. I know it was in the DLC trailer, so a lot of us are going to look at it and be like, well, that's really cool. That's the crossbow that was in the trailers. But it's also a lot of fun to use with its ability, and it does make the crossbow class as a whole better. Of course, I'm going to show you location on this one as well, and I recommend grabbing this. No matter what your build, pick this up. There's a ton of different bolts that you could use for it. I believe there's going to be some new bolts and stuff in the DLC as well. There's going to be different stuff as far as that goes. For me, so far, I like the Flaming Bolts, what you can get at the Merchant in Caelid, the one that's south on the map. He's the one closest to the Knight's Cavalry that is not in Dragon Barrow, so it's going to be south on the map by where the Knight's Cavalry is and sort of where the Rotten Dragon is past him. And now we're going to jump into the build on this one. We have the Repeating Crossbow, preferably plus 10. We have the Flaming Bolts and Explosive Bolts. We also have any seal for buffs. We did hit 51 poise. We have the Ritual Swords Talisman, Fire Scorpion Charm, Arrow Sting Talisman, Arrow's Reach Talisman, Flame Tier, and Fate Tier. And for the stats on this one, it does not really matter. I'm just going to show the buffs. I was using Golden Vow, Flame, Grant Me Strength, and Blessing Spoon. As far as the stats go, you need the minimum requirements, which is a little bit of dexterity, not too much there. And then it's not going to really scale with anything at all, so it's going to fit most builds. And the location on this one, after Castle Ensis, you're going to go south. There's going to be a Ghost Flame Dragon there fighting some enemies. You do not need to defeat it. That could be a very challenging boss early on, and you can grab the Repeating Crossbow on the map there. And number 3, we have the Horned Warrior Sword, a personal favorite because the Ash of War is going to scale with Faith on this one, and as the weapon itself, it's actually a dex weapon, so you're going to have a dex Faith option that's actually quite good. This one's really good for mob control, by the way. You've got a good amount of range on the Ash and a lot of holy damage. This may actually rival the Blasphemous Blade, especially after the recent nerf in terms of mob control. I mean, if you're away from a mob, like a decent like mid-range or whatever, and you use this, spam it, you may be able to destroy them with ease before they even get near you. So for those that like Dexterity and Faith, by the way, it shows that it's quality, but it does lean more towards Dexterity. So if you're going to run 2 stats, they should be Dexterity and Faith. You can see there on the Deathbird with the Holy Damage, just 2 hits. This is base new game, but still pretty awesome. Let's go over equipment, stats, everything you need to know for this awesome build. And for equipment, we have the Horn Warrior Sword, preferably +10. We have any seal for buffs. Check out the armor set there. We have the Sacred Scorpion Charm, Ritual Swords, Talisman, Shard of Alexander, Arsenal Charm +1, or Great Jar's Arsenal, Holy Tier, Faith Tier. Let's talk about stats. If you want big damage from the Ash of War, I went for 70 Faith. If you're going to go more for the damage on the weapon, lean towards Dexterity. We're using Golden Vow, Hellish Brewery, 60 Vigor, 25 Dexterity, 30 Endurance. And then now for the location on this one, you can grab this one at the first dungeon that's to the left, the one where Divine Beast is, the one that you saw in the trailer, the Lion. And this is at the small private altar, I believe, right here on the map. You can farm this. It's probably around a 4% drop rate or so. I recommend using the Silver Scarab to make your life easier. And at number 2, we have Rellana's Twinblades. I have 2 different builds for you. One that leans towards quality and a little bit more towards faith. And then I have one that focuses more on the beams for this weapon. Alright, let's go with the Dex Faith version. So how this weapon works is essentially much like the Sword of Night and Flame. You have a stance, and then the fire part that you're going to use, that's going to scale with your Faith stat. And then the beams, they're going to scale with your Intelligence stat. So in all, it's going to end up scaling with 4 different things. The physical part on the weapon is then Dexterity and Strength. Yeah, that was a lot to get through. I hope I explained it well. It does lean toward Dexterity a little bit over Strength, so you're going to go with a physical damage component. I would lean more towards putting points into Dexterity. For this specifically, we went as a Dex and Faith build to get good fire damage and physical damage as well. And honestly, another note, by the way, is seriously, these weapons are cool as hell. Looking at the Ash of War, it's amazing, the Ash of War on these ones. Some of the stuff they've done with these ashes in the DLC is incredible, and this one also looks fantastic. It's no exception. Let's jump into equipment and stats for the first build. For equipment, we have Rellana's Twinblades +10. We have any seal for buffs. You can check out the armor set there. We have the Fire Scorpion Charm, Ritual Swords, Talisman, Shard of Alexander. We have the new Talisman there for Stance, Flame Tier, and Faith Tier. Yeah, I'll get some more item locations up as we go. I think I have that clip somewhere. We have 60 Vigor for this one, 40 Dexterity. We have 30 Intelligence. We have 40 Faith with the Faith tier on this one. 26 Endurance, so we got a decent amount of Endurance. This will chew through Endurance, by the way, especially when you're using the Stance. And then we're using for this one, Golden Vow, Flame Grant Me Strength, and Blessings Boon. Alright, now are you an Intelligence user? Then you're going to like this build, because this is going to be more focused on the beam part of this. We're going to jump into a build based on the beams and get damage out of them. Alright, for Rellana's build 2. Now this is all based on boosting magic damage, because here, this is going to scale with Intelligence, and it's going to do purely magic damage. The beams are honestly a spectacle to look at, so is the fire part, and we've built around them for this to get a lot of damage. Jump into equipment. For equipment, we have Rellana's Twinblades +10, any seal for buffs. You can check out the armor set there. Magic Scorpion Charm, Ritual Swords, Talisman, Shard of Alexander. We have the new Talisman again, Magic Tier, Faith Tier. By the way, the Spellblade set will also boost the beams on this. Totally different stats here, as we went for only 50 Vigor, so we could give us 60 Intelligence, 33 Faith with the Faith Tier, so we could use buffs and get some damage out of the fire part. We have 26 Dexterity, 22 Mind, 25 Endurance. And as mentioned, of course, we're using Hellish Brewery, Blessing Spoon, and then we're going to want to use Golden Vow for pretty much all of these too. And then for location, Castle Enzi's right there. That's where you're going to get this. It's the boss there. You're going to have to work your way through the dungeon, and then you could trade in the Remembrance for these awesome twin blades that are really cool to look at. Alright, technically we're 5 builds in. This is the only one that I'm going to repeat from yesterday because people keep asking me what I'm using currently in the DLC, and I'm switching right back to the backhand blades. I have switched to a dexterity build, and I absolutely love these weapons. These are incredible. The Ash of War is great for dodging, and they can build up a lot of bleed too. Of course, if you saw this one from yesterday, you could skip to the ending, but I wanted to include this because so far this is my best build. Keen Backhand Blade is what we have. We're using Blood Flame Blade, any seal for buff, White Mask, we hit 51 poise, Wingsword Insignia, Millicent's Prosthesis, Shard of Alexander, Lord of Blood's Exaltation, we have the Thorny tier, and Faith tier too. Man, this DLC has truly been incredible so far. 60 Vigor, 22 Mind, 28 Endurance. We have 75 Dexterity with Melissa's Prosthesis, 15 Faith, that's going to be 25 Faith with the Faith here. A good amount of Endurance here too. We're using Golden Vow, Flame Grip Me Strength, Blessing Spoon, and then with Blood Flame Blade, you're going to end up with a good amount of Bleed build up, probably right around 85 Bleed build up in total. And where can you grab these? You can grab these pretty much from the start of the game, and I recommend running these. Switching to a dexterity build seems to give you a lot of variety in the DLC so far. I'm loving these weapons. Right on the map right there, just north of these Scorched Ruins, you can grab the Backhand Blades. Thanks for watching this one. I appreciate everybody that's been subbed to this channel so far. Let's continue to make this community awesome and continue to grow it. Join the Discord. Be sure to sub. This is a community that's always been great, honestly. Everybody is so nice here. Everybody's been so helpful. The Discord has been very busy lately, too, which is awesome. All right, you can hear in my voice that I'm hyped. I want to jump back into this, so I'm going to take a break and then jump right back into DLC and then put several hours into it and get more builds up.